Hi, and welcome to Stair Yoga. I have to admit that it's not the best setup here in terms of lighting and camera angle. There's going to be parts of this practice that you can't see my face, but that's okay. You don't need to see my face. I'm sorry for the weird angles and the weird lighting. I'm literally in my studio stairwell coming up to my office in the coaching room. And this practice was born as a result of my personal practice after a run, right? So I went outside, I did my run, I came home and I was feeling too sweaty to sit on my furniture. I didn't want to sweat on the fabric. And so I sat myself on the stairwell in my house and did my Dasha lubrication and final cool down after the working portion of my practice, which included the run. So the reason why the stairs are so effective is not just because it's built in multiple layers, but because there's built-in support on either side. So it's a great space to have an increased level of support and an increased access to, particularly, interestingly enough, opening up the hip flexors and releasing the lumbar spine. Whether you're in a chair or sitting on the floor, we often get habitually congested into this chair fashion. So join me on a block, pillow, chair, or in the stairwell. My feet are planted, my sits bones are rooted, and my spine is tall. I'm just going to take a few breaths to inhale and exhale. On the inhale, lift the shoulder blades. On the exhale, let them go. Now, because I'm on the stairs, you can see that perhaps my hands can go below, whereas if I was just on the floor, they wouldn't have had room to hang. So now I'm going to throw my hands down, throw them down, throw them down. Good. Bend and release. Bend and release. Go ahead and bring the elbows together or to rest on your side body, and we'll scroll out the forearms and the wrists. Good. Extend and bend. And I like to flip my palms, right? Because my elbows and my shoulders allow for that. Just see if that is even room in your body. Good. All right, so now I'm going to scoot close to the wall and then lean the side of my head. So I'm stretching through this top side. I'm going to extend the arm, maybe even wrap the arm, and just start with a few breaths here. Now I'm landing on the upper part of my side or the outer edge of my crown. You may be more on your temple. That's okay. Just let the head fall and receive support. Maybe it's even from your elbow and shoulder or from where the head touches the wall. Now, while this side is resting, I'm going to extend the other leg. And you can only see probably the elevation of my knee change, but I'm opening up this side as I'm closing up the other side. I might even step this leg a little higher. Good. Rest here. Maybe add a sun breath, arm reaching up. down and around. Inhale up, exhale down and around. Good. Now I'm going to bring that same side stretch to the other side. So lift your head up, scoot over as you can, and lean the head to the wall. Again, my hip might like to have that support, my shoulder might like to have that support, my head might like to have that support. I might need a pillow. I use garden foam pads because they are very convenient, but they're denser than perhaps just a blanket and a pillow, so they give a little more support. Again, rest here. Take that arm down, back or around. Excuse me. Looking for that stretch in the side of the neck. And then switch the legs. Add the arm movement. And notice it doesn't have to be straight. In fact, there's some nice kind of sensory feedback by touching the wall. Good. All right. We're going to come now lower into the thoracic spine. So, oops, I'm supposed to lift my head. Come on back. Let's take some cat and cow, moving from the sternum, round it back and take it forward. And this is enough right here. Feet planted, rock the spine. Or bring 1 foot higher and 1 foot lower and explore this undulation, how that changes perhaps your connection into the pelvic girdle. Good. Let's take that to the second side. So start with one with the feet neutral. Take another if you feel that would be helpful. And then shift and resume. Now, there's no reason why you couldn't be sitting on a blanket or even a garden foam pad if your buttocks is uncomfortable, right? You need a little bit more cushion for your tush, right? But just be mindful that that might also increase the slipperiness, in which case we don't want to fall down the stairs. All right, now we're going to come back to the thoracic, and this time maybe you need to scoot towards the wall, maybe not, but you're going to keep the hips on the floor. And then try and get the crown of the head to the wall so that the curve is not so much in the neck as it is in the thoracic spine. Again, that hand can stay on the hip, and the lower hand might even press down or rest on a block. Or if you have, this baseboard trim, that might be enough. And just take a few breaths here. Well done. Press down, lift up, and let's move it to the other side. Again, we're looking to get the curve in the thoracic spine, so from the waist to the ribs, and then as much of your head towards the wall so that, again, that curve is coming up, over, and around. Then pause and breathe. Good. Press down to rise up. Let's box the elbows and just take a few twists. Good. Now using the wall once again, you can cross opposite hand to hold on if it's a railing or a wall, or you can use that same hand and push into the wall, then swivel the head from front to back. So the torso is staying steady for now and the head is moving. Now the side that I'm twisting to, I'm going to go ahead and extend that leg once again and take that twist. What changed for you? Good. Unwind. Now bring that leg up to your figure four. Circle the ankle. Reverse that circle. And then once again, take a twist. Now we've got the leg for leverage as well as the wall. Turn from the sternum, keeping the chin in line with your throat notch. Keep pressing that knee forward. You can even use the hands for a little activation there. Pressing the knee forward. The back hand presses into the wall to help with the twist. 3 to 5 breaths. Tall through the spine, dropping those shoulder blades away from the ears. Good. Unwind, face forward. Hands hold that top shin, pull the heart through, elbows back, and then lean and draw the body towards that top shin. Now you can rest the head, you can hold the head, or you can swivel the head, circle, whatever feels good. The idea is now we're working the back of the neck to hold the weight of the head, but not to the point where it causes any discomfort in the shoulders or spine. We're looking primarily for this to stretch through the rotator muscles of the buttocks. Now, so far, we've only used the wall basically as a close by support structure, right? That's going to change here in just a minute. As you rise up, one more time, twist to that side. See if you can cross the legs as far over as you can, just like we would in our seated practice. Fold that elbow to press. Use that back hand on the wall and rotate. This time, give a nod to your head. Good. Unwind the head, unwind the torso. Now stand the feet, and I'm standing them one step low as I lean back to now rock my hips from side to side. Now I'm not going to get that full necessarily drop of the knee, but that's okay, right? We're just lubricating that thigh bone into the hip socket. But you could add a little bit more if you need it, right? Or you could even play with the legs being longer and notice how that brings in, right? So now my bum actually lifts a little bit more, getting some stretch into my pectoralis muscles, the chest muscles. Good. All right, let's move to the second side. Sitting up once again, crossing opposite arm to knee or to wall, and the back arm for leverage. Reach for that rotation, and then swivel the head, holding the torso steady. Good. Unwind. And release. Maybe they take a cat-cow. Now we're going to cross that ankle over. Circle out the foot. Reverse that circling. Lift up nice and tall and lean in. Let that wake up a stretch in the piriformis muscle. That's the external rotator that activates in all of our forward momentum movement, our walking, our running, our getting up and down from a chair. It's all involved there, particularly when there's any kind of a rotation, right? An external rotation. Breathe. As you rise up, unwind. Cross over those legs. Once again, use the wall for support and rotate. Whether you nod or swivel the head, check in. Good. Steady the head, unwind, come back to center. Now, holding underneath that thigh, just give some can-cans, right? In and out, doesn't have to be high. And if that's too much, then lean back and kick up and down. Just take the toe up and down the stairs, right? Other side when you're ready. Again, whether it's a kick or a tap long. Now, pardon the angle here, but I'm going to lay all the way down. My feet are on the next step lower, right? And my head is on the floor. Now, I'm going to prop my head just so I can continue to talk to you. But your feet can go down to a second step or stay on the first step. The idea here is we're going to lift into a bridge. But because the feet are already lower than the buttocks, it's less work to rise. But we're really concentrating on that opening of the hips, opening of the hip flexors, the front side. So take it down. And again, notice my buttocks barely leaves the floor because my feet are already behind or below where my buttocks touches the floor. You might even play with a figure 4 variation, a one-legged lift. Good. Take that to the second side or continue with where you're at. And then we're going to bring that knee in, one knee in for a jackknife. Extend the other leg down the stairwell. Good. Bring the long leg up, bring the top leg down and switch. Good. Bring the down leg up, the up leg down. Roll over, use the railing, lift yourself back up. So once again, plant the hips on the floor. Turn to one side, whether it's on the wall or on the floor or on your thigh. This is the mermaid rock if we were on our side hip, right? But now we don't have to put any pressure. This is particularly important for anyone who has hip pain, bursitis, or just discomfort. You can get that same benefit of the twist without ever having to roll added weight onto that hip. Just leaning into that reach of the sternum towards the wall. And then the back butt cheek connects back down as you pull the body back. Good, 2 more here. Nice, through center. Extend the arms up. Reach, 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 reach. Good, hands come down. And then round and open. Round and open. Good. As you rise up, extend the arms onto either wall, right? Now again, we're going to press out. We're going to pull down through the shoulder blades and press out through the hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Reach up. Reach up. Coming maybe to touch the opposite wall. How high can your hands slide? Good, we're gonna move to that second side mermaid, so even this out. I don't even remember which side I started on, it feels so good. Right, all right, so rising up, crossover, hands to the wall, or hands to the floor, or even hands to the thigh. I like it on the wall. Gives me a little more feedback, a little less work of reaching through my shoulders. Rock the pelvis back, pull the heart towards the wall. Good. All right, now I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna turn back to the other side, but I'm gonna sit in a half straddle. So one leg's gonna come up to the landing, the other leg's gonna slide long, right? So it's not as severe as if I was on the floor. This leg can stay right where it's at. Take a couple of cat and cows here. Use the wall for support. Good. And then into that backhand, we're gonna take a side reach. Reach from the foot through the torso, into the hand, and extend. Good. Now, as that hand comes back down, see if you can find that back of that foot. Slide the foot towards the buttocks, and the knee maybe travels a little bit more behind the hip, opening up that hip flexor once again. It's a little bit like a bound pigeon, king pigeon, right? So I brought this up to this level. Oh, the king pigeon is right there, right? But this is much more accessible because my knee is not trying to be on the same plane, the same platform as my top leg. Good. Take 3 more breaths here. Well done. As you release and unwind, maybe you come back to sway the knees. Plant the feet high. You can even bring them all the way up, right? And notice how that feels. Take them down. Notice how that feels. Scoot the bum closer. Take them down again. Notice how that feels. Right? Just giving yourself an adventure of inquiry. Then when you're ready, we're going to move to the second side. So again, that kind of fold in, Janu Shirshasana style, half straddle. The other leg slides down. Now, just be mindful, we don't want to pinch that hamstring. So wherever is comfortable, to then lean it over and expand. Good. Press down to rise up. And then one more time, take that twist. So again, twisting towards the bent knee. And we didn't do this on the first side, but for stability's sake, stand that leg and then elbow rests, and you can take a forward reach from this place too. Okay, let's come back through center. Let's go ahead and do that on the other side. All right, so switch it back. One leg up, one leg down, lean forward and reach. Good. Now I'm going to come to stand, and the idea is that one foot is going to be planted on the higher stair and the other one is going to hang towards the lower stair so that I can focus on the hip height. So I think if I stand here, you can see the operative movement of my hip to lift and lower. Now notice that the standing leg is not bending. I'm holding on. You can't necessarily see me, but I'm holding on to the stairwell so that as I lift and lower, I'm getting an activation through my quadratus lumborum here to hike that hip up, and I'm getting a stabilization through the glute med here on the standing hip. Good. Now try not to lock the standing knee, just to honor that energy flow, and then just swing the leg back and forth. And you can add a little rotation and add a little flow. Good, and take it to the other side, right? Mindful of where you step so as you don't fall down. And then once again, hike and lower, hike and lower. Now my railing is easier to grab on this side, right, than the wall is, but either way, whatever works to help you stabilize. Now I've done this in the room practice as well, just using a chair or a wall, but not everyone has a wall available. And that's the beauty of the stairwell. We have two walls or two flat surfaces directly within arm's reach for most of us. And then let it swing and let it swirl. Good. And I'm going to do a butt kick, right? Make room. And if that means you even turn away, right, you can do it backwards as well. So the foot touches down. Step up a notch here. See if you can see, right? Foot comes down, flex, point, flex, point. Other side, flex, point, flex, point. Good. Now, bringing my heels to the edge of the stair. Now let the heels drop. Then lift and lower. And lift and lower. And you can do this one leg at a time too, right? So balancing with the other foot, just lift and lower on one. And if you do one-sided, then be sure to switch and do the other. And then this is a variation, but it's going to address a different muscle. So again, whether it's one or two, you're going to let the heel sink and then bring a bend into your knee. That's going to take it deeper into the calf, into the soleus muscle. And again, you could do a little alternate pressing here, or just steady and pause. Good. Okay. Now, coming to the wall once again. I'm coming down, so hopefully I can stay on camera. Ideally, I would do it there at the landing, but this is fine too. Downward dog on the wall. Just drop your chest through the space. And what's really beautiful, if you can see here, one leg is up and one leg is down. That's an awesome alternative so that we're not just jacking up the hip flexors. We're not muscling through the shoulders. Soften. Good. And then we can take it wide. Take the arm wide. Use this hand to stretch open through the chest. Come back to center and switch. One hand wide. One hand presses. Sink and rotate. That feels so good. Good. Come back to the downward dog variation. And for me, my bum is actually resting on the wall, which actually gives another layer of support here. And if you're facing one side, it might be worth it to then swivel, especially if one leg is lower than the other, to do it on the other side. And pause once again. Stretch away. And the second side. And pause. Good. And lift to release. Go ahead and come on back to your sit. Take some shoulder shrugs and circles. Tilt the ear. Head steadies. Circle the nose. Pause and reverse. Good. Notice if there's anything else that you're feeling. Because as we come on back for Savasana, this is where we're going to let the feet fall down the stairs to the degree that is comfortable for your hips. So again, lower yourself so that the head and the shoulders are supported on the floor. And then press into the feet, lift the hips so you're comfortable under your tush. And then you can slide the feet down. Or another option is to actually sit on the lower step. This is like propping the lumbar spine. Lean back to the degree, or bring a pillow in under the head or chest as you need. This is more like a propped fish pose, right? Again, find what works for you. And if the propped fish doesn't float your boat, then another beautiful Savasana option right here is legs up the wall. So again, hips come as close to the wall, swivel, take the feet up, and then rest the legs on the wall. Now I've got another little step up behind me, so I don't have a full room for my torso and spine. That's not all bad. That can actually feel kind of nice, particularly if you have a cushion here. Soften and rest. So legs up. Maybe you come into the Baddha Konasana with the legs out. Let's swivel this way for that one, right? I have a little ledge here that feels kind of fun, right? I don't have all these crooks and crannies in my home stairwell, so it's a little bit different here than it was even at home. So what was familiar for you in doing yoga in the stairwell, and what was completely foreign or perhaps even confusing? That's okay. It's a new practice for me too. And trust me when I say, if your family finds you doing yoga in the stairwell, they're gonna worry. But there's nothing wrong. It actually increases our support. So smile and nod and say, yeah, I know I'm in the stairwell and I'm doing yoga. When your rest is complete, go ahead and find your way back to a seated place that is comfortable. Bring the hands to your heart and take one more breath for being courageous, for trying something different and a little bit weird, perhaps. But notice how it feels to have had that support in so many new and balanced ways, to open your body, to help yourself become not only more stable, but more fluid, more open. May you breathe deeply and move freely. May you labor lovingly. May you live vibrantly. Namaste. Thanks for playing with me today in my weird ass stairwell.